Hello YouTube, welcome back to Essence Presents Production YouTube channel. My name is Liz. I am the owner, content strategist, and multimedia artist behind Essence Presents Production. What we do is we help wellness businesses, craft artisans, and creative solopreneurs streamline their content creation and authentic marketing strategy so that they can get back to doing what they love more and stop creating content about it. So today's video, as you can see, is totally different from the rest of the videos I've been doing. I thought today, because I have a bit of a time crunch, that I would come on here and give us a solopreneur pep talk, which is just something I came up with off my head, about the fear of trying, the fear of starting, the fear of kind of doing something that you believe in, and the trials and tribulations and the struggles, the challenges that come with doing your own thing and having faith that it will work. So the first thing that I want to say to you is, if you are passionate about something, if you are somebody who believes in your gifts, believes in what you have to offer the world, that is meant for you for a reason. That thought process lives in your body, lives in your mind for a reason. And when you think about it, there is literally no other reason you would have this in your mind as something that you want to do if it wasn't meant for you. And this is something that is so hard to stick to throughout our lives. Everything provided for us in this kind of 2024 landscape is made to distract us. It is made to allow us to kind of forget about the reason we're doing something and just say, well, I want this thing, so I need to be safe and secure in order to receive that in a way that, isn't rocking the boat. We don't want to rock the boat because, oh no, that's scary, that's taking a risk. I'm just here to remind you that literally everything that you see around you was invented by somebody. Somebody, as much as it seems kind of ridiculous at this point in time. But for instance, I'm looking at a shed, right? Like a shed. Nowadays, there's sheds at Home Depot that you can buy that are just prefabricated. Somebody in their process of life was meant to come up with the idea for a shed, right? Somebody on earth at some point in time was here and they had the idea in their mind to make something like a shed, okay? Stick with me here. If they didn't make a shed and they didn't invent it, maybe multiple people were meant to invent it before him or them, and they didn't because they were scared, or they didn't because it wasn't secure of a career path to create a shed that is kind of something nobody has ever seen before, and it seemed risky. It seemed too risky to bet on that it could work, right? So when you think about it this way, yes, of course, in 2024, there are so many businesses, there's so many products, there's so many multiples of every kind of thing in life that we have options. We have the beauty of options, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something completely unique about every single option out there for a product, a business, an idea. I purely believe that the world and the people in it were made to give options to people. And yes, at this point in time, we have made so many things and so many options that it's a little bit less common to reinvent something or to make something completely new that nobody's ever seen before. But there are little ways that you can invent something completely new that is relative to a larger already existing industry or already existing product. And that is the beautiful thing. That is the beautiful thing about being somebody who knows that they are meant to do something. I want to take you back a little bit to a time in my life. This is a bit of story time for you. There was actually a time in my life that I was deathly afraid that I had no purpose, that I didn't grow up in a circumstance that was extremely one way or the other, right? I would say I had one of the most beautiful upbringings that any human could ever wish for, and for that I am grateful every single day. I'm grateful in literally every waking moment that I got to grow up in a place, in a family, in a environment that was beautiful and supportive, right? I know a lot of people don't get that. So every single day, I'm so grateful for that. And I think a big part of the side of a good childhood that most people don't see is that everything feels sustainable. Things feel like they're able to grow, and like there's endless possibility. And that's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I started to feel, however, that at a certain age, it was almost like this environment was too supportive, to where I felt like there was no action to be taken in order to help people. I wanted to help people, but I didn't know exactly how. I knew I wasn't interested in like being a doctor in that way. I knew I wasn't interested in helping people with insurance or something like that. Or, you can kind of tell when you're interested in something and when you're not from a young age, The things that you become interested in as you get older, though, they show up more and more in your life. And something that always showed up in my life when I was younger was this idea of the cyclical nature of things. I grew up in New Hampshire, so I was always surrounded by nature, and the seasons were so changeable. It was like we got all 4 seasons in the most drastic sense that you could think of. And that, to me, I wanted to help people understand, for instance, what to eat in the winter in New England. That was something I felt very confused about. And I also was very interested in growth and in plants and plant life, and how in every season there's different plant life, and why do certain things grow at a certain time of year, and how beautiful and amazing it is that the things that grow during certain times of year play a role in health, in your body's health, to support the activities that go on during that time of year. I'm nerding out a little bit about kind of how Brilliant Pit started, but that was really the origins of Brilliant Pit. That's my other business, for those who don't know. Right now I'm a studying herbalist. I study the cyclical nature of life. That involves some ecology and also just some biology. And I also study astrology. So all of these things play a role in kind of the way that this purpose of mine came to be. But there was a time in my life where that was it. I didn't know what else really struck a chord with me in a way that I felt so passionate about. And there was years of my life that I hated my job. It was the first job I had out of college. I really disliked how surface level it felt. I was a technician in Boston. I loved production all my life. Video. I would actually do videos like this when I was 13 years old. When I was 12, maybe. I know that I got my first ever video camera as a birthday gift when I was 10 years old, and that is something I'm very grateful for, because it allowed my creativity to come out immediately, you know? There was nothing learned, there was nothing that I had to learn in order to engage with these devices that could record me and I could experiment, and that was the beautiful thing. I learned by doing, and that I think is huge for some people. But I would have never went to college if it wasn't for that birthday gift to be a media production major in communications. And yeah, I would create skits with my friends. I would make commercials. I would literally come up with commercial ideas and ask my friends to come over and to make it with me. And it's just full circle the way that life is now, and that the fact that I'm doing that now in my moments, and I'm getting paid for it. And I'm living that life that I once didn't know if it was even possible for me. So this talk is really more about kind of like your purpose has a plan, and you're not supposed to know the plan, but you are supposed to take those intuitive kind of inklings to take action on those things, right? We as multifaceted, multi-creative beings who run businesses and who own our own little craft shop, and we make things and we do things, like there was no plan until it was a plan. Do you know what I'm saying? You may have been really lost at some point in your life where you felt like the thing that I am really interested in doesn't exist. And this kind of goes back to the invention thing. But seasonal wellness, as far as I'm aware, I don't think it exists right now, other than on my Brilliant Pit YouTube channel. So that's a beautiful thing, because I have 18 subscribers over there. I have 16 subscribers on this channel, and I'm so grateful for all of you. But how beautiful is it that people are resonating with something that, as far as I'm aware, doesn't exist in the exact way that I'm kind of portraying it. And it was essentially the thing I wanted to help people with most when I was young. And production and content creation and all of that is something that I'm good at, and I love also, equally as much. And that is another thing about just this life of a solopreneur. It's like, the reason I serve craft artisan creatives is because I have that direct experience from in 2020, when I really took Brilliant Pit seriously, and I tried to do beauty products, and I tried to do seasonal wellness guides. Not tried, I actually did. And that is what led me to understanding the life of people who run off of passion, who literally their gas is passion. So they take action out of that passion, and they're not afraid to put effort towards something that they have no idea is going to work or resonate with people. But just like the invention of a shed, somebody sacrificed something to invent sheds, and somebody sacrificed something to create this water bottle. Do you know what I'm saying? There's so much out there, and I just feel like not a lot of people talk about this at all. There's so many products, businesses, and people who have sacrificed their life to kind of do this thing that they feel so strongly about. And this is who I'm speaking to, because you and I, we have this kind of, we have a calling in a sense. And if you are somebody who feels like you don't have a calling, and you don't relate to being kind of a solopreneur or a creative person who has an idea of creating something totally different, which, by the way, I feel like almost all of us are, do not worry about it, because it will come to you. The purpose, the path will all make sense to you in time. And it's not meant to make sense to you right now. But I want to round robin back to kind of the fear of trying and kind of relate it to what I just extrapolated about my story. 2020 was a beautiful, beautiful time to be alive and to be, I guess, somebody who is in a career. I think it changed a lot of things for a lot of us. And the reason I say it was a beautiful time is because it allowed everything and everybody to silence their own landscape of duties, of responsibilities, and to think about what actually matters to them. And this whole thing about purpose, I think this whole thing about purpose came alive during that time for a lot of people. And how beautiful is that? That purpose became huge. Like a person's path and purpose became a huge kind of relatable thing to people in a time where everything was silenced, and like the working world and the hustle and bustle wasn't a thing anymore. So what was our attention drawn to? It was drawn within. And how insane is it that when we all looked within, we found that not everything is aligned with us and what we're doing. It was also a beautiful time because we were weirdly in this kind of dimension of reality where we were all being somewhat supported by the government in some way, shape, or form because of this kind of capitalist build that society has been built upon. We were all able to kind of just quiet down for a minute and not worry about finance security because it was somewhat being provided to us if you were lucky. And that was something that I took upon myself in that mode of really shining a light on our purpose. I ran with that and I felt so free. And it was a trip in a way because it's like, this is not what reality actually is. And in that moment, there was no fear of trying because there was support. There was this lack of knowing what was ahead of us. And it almost felt like you could create anything you wanted for that time in the future. At least to me, it felt like an opportunity to grow and get really serious about what I really wanted to do. And so there was no fear. There was no fear of trying for me. And the reason I wanted to talk about kind of the fear of trying today as a solopreneur is because I want to prompt you with this question. If 2020 happened again and we all were supported to not work, to also not know what was ahead, but we were supported enough to afford what we need for survival and to focus in on our purpose in life without the society that we know of today. If that happened again, what would you do? Would you make the decision to go all in on what you're already doing? Would you completely trash what you're doing right now and do something totally different? that is kind of the purpose of this talk today. Is if you have felt like your purpose has been leading you, and it's leading you and leading you and leading you, but there's this fear of, there's maybe a fear of not trying, but a fear of taking the next big step to allow this to become your baby. There's something really profound that can happen when we understand that the structures in life are simply structures. And as a solopreneur doing your own thing, we actually aren't the most supported within that structure. Those who want to change the world in some way, or change a specific industry by providing a product or service that they believe will change the world, or they believe will make something better, these people, unfortunately, in this society, this way of living, are not as supported as those who decide to kind of, I'm trying to find a better word for it, but it does feel like settling. And I'm just here to tell you that you are seen. If you don't feel seen right now, you will feel seen soon. And the beautiful part of being somebody on YouTube and being somebody who's putting themselves out there is that there's other people who want to hear you. There are people who want to hear you. And I know this for a fact because I'm a tiny, 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 tiny little corner of the internet on this channel. And I notice that the more effort I put into it, and I want to also say that it is so cliche, but nothing really is meant to happen overnight. And it shouldn't, because it's not something that you're ready for anyway, okay? And I'll explain this here. So I'm a tiny channel, okay? And being on this platform, I'm realizing that people really dig what I'm saying. And that's something that I truly never really believed in about myself. I thought, oh, I have to spend time to do this better. I have to get better at this before I do that. I have to do this before I do that. No. That is not the answer. As small as I am, and as tiny my impact is on the world at this time, people resonate still. And to have 100 people viewing my last video, and out of those 100 people, 9 people liking it, and having 16 subscribers now to my YouTube channel, I have to say that there's a high when you start trying, and when you actually put yourself out there for, I want to say, like 3 weeks, maybe a month. Maybe a month I have been doing this in a way that is in full belief of myself, okay? There comes a time where, as a solopreneur, you have to believe in yourself for like a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden, you're gonna feel like you've made an impact. And that is where I'm at currently. So I want to take just a moment to thank you. Thank you if you are subscribed to my channel. Thank you if you've been listening to me and listening to my videos. I feel so small as a creative, as a multimedia kind of artist person who likes to create content for small wellness businesses and crafters. You know, I feel small. I feel like my impact is small at this point, but I don't necessarily feel that way the more that time goes on and the more that I believe in myself. The fact that 9 of you out of the 100 of you who saw my last video went out of their way to like the video and potentially subscribe if you were one of them, it means so much to me, because it means that my belief in myself is not invalid. It's real. And if you believe in yourself, things will become real for you. It will happen. The math doesn't make sense. If you were to believe in yourself and give yourself 4 weeks of that pure, sincere belief, you can make an impact. Even if it's small, it's gonna feel like a big impact to you, especially if you're not somebody who's put yourself out there before. So, I wanna thank you for coming to this solopreneur pep talk about the fear of trying and just fear in general. And I hope that you've learned a little bit more about my path and kind of where I come from and why I do what I do. Essence was truly a kind of cause and effect of Brilliant Pit, my other business, starting. And I'm so happy that I have an education in it. I have a career in it. I actually don't do this full time. Hope to one day, but I have been learning so much in my career. I'm 28 years old and I'm constantly learning, and that is the most important thing to me, and it's one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for. Thank you for watching. I want to tell you, because this is actually going to be posted on Monday, I want to tell you about something that is actually happening this month. If you missed my last video, you have the chance to win a free service from me this month, which is awesome. I am conducting some market research to validate a big business idea that I have. Speaking of inventions and industry inventions, things like that, I have a big idea and I would love to validate it and make sure that the vision in my head is just as valuable to you as it is to me. So please click the link below to join the waitlist to receive the survey. So you have to join the waitlist to receive the survey next week. And next week you get 5 days to complete the survey to be officially input as somebody who could win a free service from me. So I am picking 5 lucky winners who complete the survey and provide value to me, answer some really valuable questions to me. I am, as a thank you, giving away 5 free services that range from photo, video shoot, graphic design services, and a content strategy proposal. So I encourage you to check that out below. If you want to know a little bit more about it and you want to hear me talk about it a little bit more, I have a highlight on my Instagram. I might just put a little picture right here. On my Instagram, I've highlighted June giveaway, and that is where you can listen to me chat about it way more. So if you are a little bit more confused, check that out. I also am putting out a post on Monday the 10th, which I believe is the day that this will be live as well, that will also give some more insight into what this is. So check out that post as well on my Instagram and on YouTube Shorts. So thank you again for listening to this. I hope that this format was enjoyable to you. If it was, please give me a like and definitely subscribe or share my YouTube channel with somebody that you think could benefit from solopreneurship, content marketing, and all that goes in between. So thank you again, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.